welcome my beloved Capricorn Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for April and May 2021. I'm your reader, fellow Earth sign, Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, the Archangel of Lyons, Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. I have 4 planets, second house in Virgo, darlings, I understand. And I've been doing these work, career, and vocation readings for myself and for clients, well, for a really long time. I started my company, Drawing the Circle Productions, May 1st, 1998. May 1st, we're going to the end of it, right at the beginning of next month. I think it's our 23rd anniversary, something crazy like that. So, you know, got a question, need some info, go to somebody who's doing it, and that is certainly me and Drawing the Circle Productions. If you've noticed, I'm bringing some other people onto my channel. Mal Flanders with her dollhouse stuff is just cracking me up and loving every minute of it. The readings and scenes from the dollhouse, she has such plans ready for you all. Nancy Antonucci, just magnificent. That thing she just did on the Hierophant is so I mean, it's a class, it's a workshop. Go check it out. As well as I am putting out stuff in support of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, my book, now on Kindle. Links in the description box. Check it out. As well as doing all sorts of cool stuff on Facebook. Our Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. Mal Flanders is actually, we're getting her ready to do some mediumship work. We're just looking at what we want to call, I mean, mediumship with Mal is a little, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, I'm not a medium, I'm a rare. She wants to do the work. She's really good at it. She freaks people out all the time. So yeah, both paid and free stuff we're doing on the Drawing the Circle Productions Facebook page. So check it out. Okay, enough of my business. Let's talk about your business. We're doing a 9-card spread, 3 decks, 3 cards each. It's called the 3 level of power spread, actually, but we're using the 3 levels of power to look at your life purpose in terms of work, career, and vocation, right? What you do for a living for most people is through work, you know, what you do to survive. Lower 3 chakras, root, sacrum, solar plexus, your career, what is your passion, your hunger, your emotions, right? Your willpower, what you really want to do, you know, your mental power and that touch of that inspiration, spiritual power, and that crown chakra, you know what I mean? Your creativity, your creative intuition, personal level of power, your psychological world, and then your vocation, your spiritual calling, that 8th chakra, that higher self, that life mission, visionary intuition, right? Seeing the larger picture, all that kind of junk, right? Bringing that into alignment is pretty powerful. I do, like every day, all 3, work, career, and vocation really operate as one thing. And you know, you do something for 23 years plus. My career, please, I started in 1990. I started reading tarot when I was 12, right? I'm 52. Oh my God, it's 40 years. So yeah, this spring actually it'll be 40 years of me reading tarot. So let's get up in this gig. It's really, really simple. All I need you to do is, first of all, standard YouTube reading rules apply. I really wish they would add it to the community guidelines. It's a general read, right? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and by all means check your other signs, because your moon sign's going to get probably more about your career, heart, third eye, crown, than your sun sign that might very much be tuned into your work, right? And all that jazz. Other than that, all I can ask for anyone watching one of these videos, receiving one of the readings from me at least, both feet on the floor, if you can, focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace on your work, career, vocation the best that I can, working with my pantheons of the divine. And I gotta tell you, it's been a very busy morning in the past couple of days. Not being able to put out, produce stuff that was ready to go out was a little maddening for a Virgo, but earth signs, you know, we're like that. Gotta try and stay on schedule. The schedule that nobody cares about but me, right? So let's get up in this gig. Seriously, Earth sign, both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. All the decks that I read are always in the description box with a lot of cool links in there on the way down. So let's do this. Enough explanation. Let's get into the read. Breathe. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck to get you essentially the 8th chakra archetype of your work, your career, and your vocation. I'll call it out as I go, and of course they speak through me to explain it as we go. That's why it's never the same thing twice, even if it's the same spread with the same decks. Breathe. My collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. Fifth dimension and above, eighth chakra and above for the Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, on watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. Please, I need 3 cards really representing the archetypal pattern, the soul power being alchemized from lead to gold, written into where they are in their life right now in their work, career, vocation. Before they ever incarnated, this shit was in place. So please, for their work, lower 3 chakras, what their survival intuition, right? How they navigate through the physical world, right? What is going on in their work? What's going on in their career? Heart, third eye, crown. Personal level of power, psychological power, their passion, their thirst, their hunger, their career, and what's going on in their vocation, their spiritual calling, their inspiration, their higher self, that big visionary intuition, right? I came in to do this for at least April, May 2021. Let's see. Well, now this is why I write these down. Look, there are 2 of these that sound very, very toxic. And one of them that sounds really, really wonderful. But the truth is archetypes are neutral. So as horrible as an archetype sounds in its lead, right? Because you have to name them something. There's only so much you can write on a card. And Carolyn Myss did a brilliant job with this. Her work, Sacred Contracts. If you know the work, you know what I'm talking about already. Archetypes are neutral. But it's a scale from lead to gold, shadow to light, toxic to healthy, however you want to say that. She writes the shadow and the light attributes on this. So 2 of the words, as soon as I say them, you're going to be triggered. Oh, I forget. It's already written in the title. So run. Too late. You're already in. But these are exceedingly powerful. You've got the beggar in your work, which, hello, the whole world seems to be in one way, shape, or form in that, even if it's not in their work, career, vocation, the physical world, you'll see it's more about compassion and humility. We'll get there. The guide, so this is a wild family archetype, I think. It's either wild family or action, because you'll see there are 9 archetypal families. The guide archetype is simultaneously like the wisdom family and the divine family archetype, in my opinion. There's a nice zone of overlap there, at least. And this is nuts. In your vocation, you've got the vampire archetype. Now, the vampire archetype, please, why is it still? You know, it's like, oh, we need another Netflix series about vampires, and blessed be, I love them. I'm still kind of diehard True Blood Anne Rice, you know, that, like, I really don't. Okay, all right, Vampire Diaries, the brothers were cute. I get it. I was down. He was so cute. All of them. Yeah, all of them. I don't care. But, you know, not my favorite thing, vampires, because they're parasites. And so the light attribute, really seriously, I'll tell you now to calm you down, it's the vampire slayer or the vampire healer. We'll get there. In your vocation, amazing. So, let me read what's on the cards. You'll see what I mean. We're going to start with the shadow for each side. So, in your work, the shadow archetype. Now, I want you to think about in terms of your physical world, the industry that you're in, right? If you want to think of it that, like, not just what you do for a living, but the larger thing that you're doing. Like, are you creating product, right? Is it retail? Is it wholesale? What is it that you do in the physical world? The shadow attribute, dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. Now, I'm going to say to you, I'm going to give you some wiggle room on this. Like, if what you produce depends on, well, if it's a supply and demand thing, you might have the supply, but the demand might not be there because there are other things in the past year or so that have become of a higher priority, right? But that's something that you can cope with if you go into the light, because dependence on others to the exclusion of effort, that's a Capricorn in a dark place. And I get it. And you're allowed to be in that dark place considering what's going on in the world. You know what I'm talking about, right? The light attribute, though, is what your work life is helping you to alchemize. Wait till you catch this. By the way, who just got this? The Sagittarians got this in their vocation. So got any planets in Sagittarius, or perhaps are dealing with Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, whoever, whatever, you might want to check that one. The light attributes confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Now, the first level of power is what's called survival intuition. It's the lower three chakras. It's literally how you navigate through the literal world, right? So you're being given lessons of confronting empowerment. It's big. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Now look, humility is the first grace I talk about in my book, Words of Grace. No shit. Because it is the shield against humiliation, right? So why wouldn't anybody want the beggar archetype? Because it's so humiliating. Well, if you have the grace of humility, here's the prayer just off the top of my head. Please grant me the maiden gateway goddess of humility, the goddess grace of humility, to know that I do not know, but I'm willing to be shown the truth. Right? I know that I don't know. I'm doing the best that I can, but I'm going to be, compassionate with myself. It's okay. The whole world is going through this, right? I'll hold division. Things will get better. Slow and steady wins the race is very Capricorn and can be very compassionate. And certainly self-esteem. And look, I have said this over and over and over because I learned this from Carolyn Myss herself decades ago. Self-esteem is a verb, not a noun. It's not something that you have or you don't have. It's something that you're always doing on a subconscious level, right? So to look at that, right? To really say, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm capable of. I don't know. Maybe all of this is part of a larger plan, which we'll get there. And all of this is for my betterment, right? Everything is here to help you. Matt Kahn, his second book, really good, KAHN. Google it. In your career, you've got the guide archetype. Now look, this is to me, like I said, both the wisdom family of archetypes and the divine family of archetypes. I love this one. I probably have this one more than I'd like to admit. The shadow attribute. Yeah, ready? The shadow places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. I don't do that. I work pro bono so fucking much. It's ridic, right? And that is part of my career. I don't have any planets in Capricorn, though. So I'm just going to roll with this and say that, you know what that's like, right? $400 for a 45-minute reading? Huh? What? Who? What? Where? I mean, I've been in this business a really long time. You know what? I charge $50 for half an hour, reading or spiritual counseling, same process essentially, just the functions are different, and $100 for an hour, and has been since I started Drawing the Circle Productions in 1998, because I want people who need to get to me to be able to afford me, but I also got to pay my bills. Virgo, right. Catch the light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself, which means that your creativity, your creative intuition, think, what do I want for dinner tonight? Heart, throat, third eye, crown, heart, throat, third eye, crown, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you swallow it and then take action into it, right? Pay the money, cook the food, whatever it is. But this is talking about something in terms of your career, something that really lights you up. And it is the nature of the divine, not just in life giving you guidance in the outside. This is literally saying within yourself. And this is second level of power, heart, third eye, crown. So to not just follow your heart and not just to follow your head and to make choices on one or the other, but both in alignment with your crown. Immense spiritual power here. However, places financial gain and control, underline there, control, over imparting spiritual insights. You feel that tensing up? Now, boundaries, Capricorn, you can have safe boundaries. I have safe boundaries, but it took me years to work those out, right? Who I'm willing to work with and really who I'm not. Here's the thing. For spiritual counseling, by law, I am not allowed to diagnose or prescribe mental illness, anything like that. Even if someone's got flashing red flags all over them, I don't say it. I'm not allowed to by law, right? Boundary. But at the same time, you book me for 3 hours, for a party or something, which I've done plenty of. That's $300, and I will read everybody there for filth. Just don't give me alcohol until afterwards, because then the edit function goes off. Oh no, I don't get dull. I get sharp when I drink, and that's why I don't drink when I read. That's why Drunk Tarot, I don't do it so much on the channel, although it's a pisser. Okay, let's move on. Right, guidance, right? Know yourself. This is the one you're waiting to hear about, isn't it? Dracula's. The vampire archetype. Now look, you put aside, because you're going to need it in a minute, the lore, the L-O-R-E, like everything you know about vampires, because there's a video I have on YouTube, Vampires and Witches, on this channel that really hits this hard with a wooden stake, a lemon in its mouth, and decapitate it. Shadow attribute, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. Now look, if this was in your work, I get it, but it's not. If this was in your career, I get it, but it's not. This is about your relationship to the divine. Who has been draining you? Have you been vampired, or are you vampiring? And this is where it gets fucking dicey, right? Because the 8th chakra is the star center. It is the very light that burns the vampire. There's so much to unpack there. I can't in a work, career, vocation reading, because I don't think it's ever come up in this position that I can at least remember in my memory. It's like, this is 52 years old. Prevagen. Light attribute makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force, which would, of course, maybe put you in a position of feeling dependent. So, by the way, the word dependency, dependence and dependence, both in the crown and in the root sacrum solar plexus. Now, maybe this is not a person. Maybe this is an industry. Maybe there is something in your work life that is just, you are dependent on it and it's just draining you dry because to face the light and the truth. But this is the thing. You have the opportunity to be the vampire slayer or the vampire healer. And if you want to know the difference between the two, go find the YouTube. I really should link it to it, but by the time this posts, I'm already on to like 2 videos from now. So let's build on this fascinating read. Fascinating read, right? Because the thing about vampires is that we put that weird romantic part to it, right? Like vampires, once you let them in the front door, the next time they show up is usually through the bedroom window, right? It's seductive. Like, is there something that has seduced you? And, you know, I have to say, that is, and I put this in the Witches and the Vampires and Witches video too. It's like 2 hours. It's like a lecture. It's a good lecture. Like, I keep an eye. Everybody gets the opportunity to complain. That doesn't mean you're depleting somebody. Sure, those voices need to be heard. Chronic is the word, and codependency. And I know for sure, thank you, Matt Kahn, from the Matt Kahn Healing Mantra deck, the mantra for unraveling codependence, only I need to feel good about my choices. And I like to add to that, thank you very much. Only I need to, right? So, you know, this could be that the Spirit's trying to give you some inspiration here, maybe to break a deadlock here. A deadlock, an undeadlock. Okay, let's get Daughters of the Moon Tarot, Heart, Third Eye, Crown. Let's look. Work, career, vocation. Please take a nice deep breath. I'm fascinated and I'm not even Capricorn. Breathe. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed, indeed. My goddesses of Earth. Our Lady of the Underground. Our Lady of the Underworld. My Persephone, please, in the sign of Capricorn, 3 cards in clarity for the Capricorn Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I'm watching this video, receiving this reading. We've really got such a huge chunk on the table here. Just clarify what's going on. Heart, Third Eye, Crown. For the Capricorn watching this video, receiving this reading. Work, career, vocation here. April, May, they've got the Beggar archetype in their work. What's going on there on the inside? In their career, they've got that guide archetype, which feels like their leverage here in this reading, honestly. And with that vampire archetype, which is so... I will say, I don't know if I'm shocked or surprised. I think maybe I'm just surprised. I don't know if I'm shocked. Vampire in the 8th chakra, their vocation. Their vocation, please leave that one in my hand for them. For McAfee's? No? Oh. Okay, so usually what that means, when they keep giving me 2 instead of 1, is that, yeah, there's some kind of choice decision here, but if it's in the 8th chakra, it's going to be a test as to whether you face the light or not, face the truth or not. What do they got there, please, face down? Oh, let's look. 1, 2, and 3. pretty good. I think you'll like it. A lot of earth, too. You have one major arcana card, and it's with the Beggar archetype, and it is Shakti, the life dancer, the card of the world of the universe. There is something wrapping up. You are at the end of the cycle. Something perhaps that you were dependent upon for financially. Maybe some money has run out. Maybe, I mean, so many different things. Particularly if you're an artist of any kind, it could be the end of a gig. It could also be you really not knowing what to do for your next cycle. So sometimes we can really hang out in the end of a cycle, if you know what I mean. Because what comes after the card of the universe, in this case Shakti, the life dancer, and I absolutely would look up Shakti, S-H-A-K-T-I. I mean, Shakti Gawain, Creative Visualization was like the first New Age book I read in 1980 something. I was in high school, but there's a reason why she took that name for herself. The goddess as well as the energy, Shakti. There's a key there for you. But what would be the next card after the world, right? The Fool in this deck, the Dreamer. So there is something coming for you inside of yourself. Heart, throat, third eye, crown. You are literally wrapping things up on the inside. Completion. They give me the word resolution, right? But on a spiritual level, now, in other words, major arcana cards are places in our lives. They're not things. It's like minor arcana are usually things, symbolically speaking. Court cards we usually think of as people. The major arcana really are the places, the stages of life, and we usually stay on them for a while. So I'm really going to say working with the grace of humility, or just really get that this light archetype here confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, feeling like something has come to an end. I think you know that inside of yourself something has come to an end, and it awakens the spiritual authority. Like, think of authority as like a writer, right? Like, that this is what's written for you, so to speak, the spiritual authority. And what's your spiritual authority? We'll get there. Of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. To estimate yourself as, yes, I am processing all of this that I have gone through right now. And your guidance is in heart, third eye, crown with the guide. And there you go. The card of success, Six of Pentacles, balanced forward motion, perhaps under handicap. Right? Right? This is like Special Olympics race, right? And if you're in the race, you win. Right, just keep moving forward. There's a certain momentum here, but it is balanced. It's initial success. It's not the Ten of Pentacles. It's the Six. You're not quite at your harvest, but I feel like inside of yourself, with your career, it's like the guidance is there. It may not. There is certainly a momentum in terms of your creative intuition wanting to bring things into form successfully. But there's really a piece in here, particularly with that Beggar archetype in your work, how you bring this stuff into the world, that has to do with you knowing that you don't know how, so that you cannot let go of the external guidance and protocols and best practices. That'll all get figured out. You're a Capricorn, I get it. Like, and not just what you've known before, but that there's new stuff coming in, but you might be being drained by somebody. So hearing that guidance and grace might be really tricky, because you've got the Taurus card with the vampire in your vocation, and this is all about life values and about money. Like, this could purely be a financial thing of somebody who really has the inspiration but is being drained in a codependent relationship in some way, shape, or form. I mean, can you have a codependent relationship with an industry? Yeah, particularly if your contract is done. And I'm talking a soul contract, that there might be something that you're being guided to inside of you that you know in your heart has momentum and you really want to do it. And that something is at the end of a cycle here. So I'm going to say, look, because this wouldn't necessarily represent a person unless this is like really like a spiritual teacher. But this would be Queen of Pentacles, the great corn mother. In the 8th chakra, though, that speaks of almost the archetype of the Earth Mother, saying, look to your foundations, fixed earth. What are your lifelong spiritual values? Right? Like, to me, people say, oh, second house, Taurus, money and prosperity and abundance. Yeah. But also your body, which you value, your home, which you value. I get it, physical things, but what about honesty? What about loyalty? What about honor? What about, courage? These other spiritual qualities, right? Love, right? Are you in something that lights you up, that allows you to give love to the world? Or are you in a situation that you perhaps have outgrown, which is kind of what I think this is saying. And you might be kind of doing the beggar thing, but turn that beggar upward to the divine. Because with that vampire archetype there, I'm telling you, you're going to really be very aware. It's sort of like, why do I feel this way? And you look down and you see a tick on you. Now, I hate to say that word. I live on Long Island. Right? A spoon. That's the only context of tick that I'm really wanting to ever talk about. I loved that series so much to this day. I live alone. I'll just pick up a spoon and go, spoon, you know? But then you look down and you go, oh my God, this is draining me. This is draining me because I'm going against my own spiritual power. I'm going against my own spiritual values here. And guess what? It's time for that on planet Earth. It is time for us to put the divine first, because that's what we all are. Yeah. What does this look like on the outside? Because I know it's what you're waiting for, my caps. Me too. I would too with this. This is intense, but all of these readings have been intense this time. Maybe they always are. Mythic Tarot, this represents the lower three chakras, the physical, literal world in your work, career, vocation. Please breathe. Oh dear. Okay, my gods of earth and the signs of Capricorn. One god in particular, please. 3 cards in clarity. What does this look like on the outside? Either from the outside looking in, how the Capricorn collective sun, moon, rising, Venus, sun, watching this video, receiving this reading looks from the outside looking in, or some physical aspect of this to really give them an identifier, a piece of the puzzle, some guidance, some grace in their work, career, vocation. April, May 2020, you've got the Beggar, the card of the universe, Shakti, the life dancer, in their work. What does that look like in the outer or from the outside looking in? In their career, their guide with success. I mean, that just says successful guidance inside of you. There is a new way through, but it's in your heart and your passion. And if you're trying to be over practical because of money, it's like, I'm sorry, your spiritual values seem more of import than your financial ones right now, but ain't that the case every now and again, right? You still got to pay your bills. I get it. So in their career, what does that look like with the guide with success? Because that is a pentacle card, right? That could have been the card of victory, or it could have been anything. What does that look like on the outside? And with this vampire, with the Taurus card, it's like the vampire bull. Moo. What does that look like on the outside? Because I think I get the symbolic meaning, and I get because even holy symbols are symbols of the whole, like the sun, like sunlight. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot going on there, please. What does that look like the outside in their vocation? That took a while. Can't wait to see. 1, 2, oh, ho, 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 ho. Fuck balls. Okay, all right, buckle up, buckle in. Here we go. You're either gonna like this or you're not. From the outside looking in, you got the 2 of Swords. You're gathering information. It's sort of like between a rock and a hard place mentally. People want to call it the indecision card. To me, decision is element of fire. It's what you want. This is about conflicting information. This is about really trying to see both sides of it, which, yes, in a 2 of Flames crossroads situation, I get it. But you're really getting, it's like, holy shit, I'm done with this. And there's so much wisdom to be learned here, but maybe you can't really see that unless you kind of disconnect from the thing that's draining you spiritually. See what I'm saying? And that might be part of this. And you know, it might be from the outside looking in, you seeing your work mentally, just purely from a mental point of view, perhaps even rationally and the numbers, and going, spiritually, this isn't worth it. This could have been the prostitute archetype. It's the beggar. So I don't feel like this is something that you went into this way. I feel like this is something that happened to your, again, industry is the word that they're giving me, but that field might be a better word for it. So with that beggar there, really get into the light attribute of that. I'm telling you, your leverage seems to be either in your creative or in your spiritual here. So let's look at the guide archetype with the success, but on the outer, you got the 5 of Swords. I wouldn't be talking about this to anybody who's going to poke your fucking bubble. Right? Fuck you. Right? If there's arguments, now look, there might very well be conflicting information. particularly where we are right now. I mean, the news, everything changes so fast. It's like we have an inflection point every hour or half hour, where we used to have them every 500 years. Okay, thousands of years ago. Like information doubling and stuff like that. So many gigantic lifetime planetary crossroads we've been hit with. So with this Five of Swords, I can get a lot of mental disturbance, a lot of mental static, a lot of mental conflict. And that can very much be in the way of, it's almost like people, like I could see people, well, you can't do that. You have to, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Well, Gandhi didn't get a guarantee. Jesus, Moses, Abraham, that's just New and Old Testament, honey. Buddha, Confucius, did any of them get a guarantee? I know, I'm putting you in very, very good good company. But ain't that true of all of us, right? Heracles, right? Carrie Fisher, all of us. None of us get fucking guarantees. It's quantum, it's a game. We're not in control of it. Cope. Whew, that's intense. In other words, this is saying your guidance is being occluded by other people's, maybe it's well-meaning, right? What I call the toxicity of the well-meaning. Well, I worry about you. I'm like, just fucking hit me with a brick. It's faster. In your vocation, this vampire archetype, which I was like, what the hell is going on there? And really, inside, bringing in the alignment of what's really bedrock important to me, lifelong, fixed earth of value to me. Because, sweetheart, you got the death card, and this is spiritual transformation. You better work. You better be taking a look at, what is draining me? Because there is a transformation. Because the death card in the 8th chakra means it's just going to be coming down the chakras when it comes. Hades coming down the chakras when he comes. Like, let's try to keep this light. But I'm telling you, I don't feel like this is a bad thing at all. Again, it's a general read. It's going to play itself out differently for different people. But, you got the death card in the crown, and you got the last card of the major arcana in your first card down. You know what I mean? In your work there, I don't know. I just feel like something is coming to an end. You know it. You know it physically. And you're just going to have to really, I would say, play your cards very close to your chest, because there is a transformation going on in your spiritual life, where I feel like particularly, and I don't like going here, there he said, crossing his solar plexus while he's reading, you might be dealing with death directly, and I mean literally. People around you this past year and whatever, a couple of months, almost a year and a half, whatever, that there's been a lot, and it has in the physical world, right? This is the root chakra of your work career. This, in this case, your vocation. So there might be this thing that your life is going through a transformation where you're taking a flea bath, right? You're just like taking the spiritual flea bath and just kicking the parasites off. I once told any jewelry makers out there, I'm going to say, if there's a way where you can take garlic and like shellac it in some way and bless it and put it on an earring, think about that. Wear it right by your neck, vampire. It's just warning. It's like, I'm on to you, you bloodsuckers. Oh, no. Pity the fool that tries to bite me on the neck. I have what I call TNS, Teflon Neck Syndrome. Try. I love being a witch. Watch the video. The video ain't just for witches, but vampires and witches. It's really good, and I think very, very fitting for this reading. Look, oh my God, chronic complaining and codependency. If you've been dealing with that with yourself or somebody else, if it's somebody else, now you know, this is part of my spiritual transformation. You gotta go, honey. A little holy water. I make holy coffee. I just bless it as I stir. Whoops. Madcap and mayhem. Now, I know one of the Capricorns that watch this is actually a salon owner, so I could just imagine. Not saying who she is, but if she wants to comment, she certainly will. You could even inbox me if you want, because that shit's just funny. Oh my God, what an intense reading. So let me put it together for you in a prayer, because it's just the easiest way. Please take a nice deep breath, both feet on the floor. My collective pantheons of the divine, please. May the Capricorn collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, Vocation as they deal with this vampire archetype in their calling, that they reorient themselves with their true spiritual core values, right? Heart, throat, third eye, crown, as they deal with this transformation, maybe rising from the ashes rather than going to for this with the inspiration, the guidance, and the grace, then being able to flow into their own guidance system, into their own guide, archetypal soul power, really representing the nature of the divine in life and in themselves, helping them walk their path in success regardless of the mental static, the arguments, the disagreements that might be going on around them or even with them, so that they can really alchemize this beggar archetype, confronting empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakening their own spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem as things wrap up for them, as they really close a cycle, moving forward into a new one, gathering the information that they can clearly, to do this wisely and well, to make sure that when they move on to the 3 and the 4 and then the 5, that they are doing it with the humility, knowing that they don't know and maybe no one else does, and the compassion to know that everybody is suffering and everybody's dealing with death in one way, shape, or form. And with really that lovely, lovely authority of self-esteem, that you are as the divine created you. You're not a body, you are free. You're still as the divine created you before you incarnated here. And what's not to love about that? You come back and do it again anyway if you want to. So may they be so blessed in their work, career, vocation, that they may fulfill their role in the divine plan and be a blessing upon this world for the well-being of all. So motivating. And so it is. What an intense fucking read, Capricorns. Yeah, but you're Capricorns. What do we expect? What do we expect? I don't know, but I expect brilliance from my Capricorns. You are 10th house, highest potential. And believe me, if any of us knew our highest potential, we would run and hide. So, on that note, thank you so much. If you liked it, like it. Want more, subscribe. Feel like commenting, please do. I would love to know from my hardworking earth sign, slow and steady wins the race, what's going on for you. And if you want, check out shit in the description box. Check out my book, Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, $9.99 USD, United States dollars. You can even preview it, and you don't need Kindle to read it on Kindle. You just need the Kindle app. Who knew? I didn't. Now I do. Live and learn. Ain't it the way it goes? Otherwise, wishing you very much the very best and the very, very blessed, my beloved, beautiful Capricorns. Keep going. I believe in you. Farewell and blessed be.